Welcome to episode 66 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC anime universe, co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And I got it.
You got it.
I got it.
Welcome to 2018, everybody.
Welcome to 2018. Right up top, we apologize for not having a new, what do you want to call it? Not canonical, but ordered episode. Not an episode about the DCAU for the last couple weeks.
Don't apologize about that. People are
I'm
probably
going
ecstatic
to. I'm
that
going
we
to.
didn't have to talk about that for a whole 2 weeks.
It's like, 2 weeks of them not talking about something super niche that I vaguely recall from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, since, we do live in LA.
How are they going to get their news, though, Chris?
Oh,
There's
God,
no other way.
If only there were far better, more reliable, and intelligent places they could get it. But yeah, Cameron and I are both out of town, so that made it a little bit challenging for us to get some new ones in. But luckily, we had some stuff in the can.
Yes.
We were able to throw out there. So
and we're here.
Still got some stuff.
We've
and we're
made
back.
it to 2018.
We made it 2018. And I have to say, if we were going to start out 2018, I'm really glad these are the two episodes that came along.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them both, actually.
For once in a long time.
Yeah. So we will get to those episodes. We have only kind of a little bit of news. I mean, even though we haven't talked in like 3 weeks,
right.
Nothing happened over the holidays.
Yeah.
Also, happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah.
Much delayed.
Yeah. Right. It was kind of the thing where there was so much at the beginning and then just nothing, and now nothing is really relevant.
No.
So we're going to talk about what we want to talk about.
Exactly. We did get some exciting news if you're fans of Animaniacs, which we of course are.
Yes.
It's not only is it all up on Hulu, which it was all up on Netflix before, but now it's like going to be up on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. And also
Tiny Toons.
And Pinky the Brain.
Pinky the Brain, yeah. And I don't know if Tiny Toons had been anywhere before. So
I don't think it had been. I guess Disney is just trying to, not Disney, Warner's just trying to push all of their products out before Disney takes over Hulu.
I mean, they're love people yelling in the street. Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to try and throw some leverage down there. But I mean, if you're Steven Spielberg, I think you can get around any kind of leverage. Yeah, at this point, he can do whatever he wants. He got fucking Overwatch in Ready Player One. Yeah, I know he got. I bet there's even stuff in there that we aren't even expecting yet. Like I'm sure there's gonna be some surprises in terms of IP.
Yeah, I mean they showed kind of the big things and then the one niche thing, which I'm gonna say is Iron Giant.
Beloved Iron Giant.
And then then it's just gonna be like. If they fit Roger Rabbit in, Chris,
that'd be pretty spectacular. That would be.
I would cry
be amazing
if I see Roger Rabbit on screen again.
Hey, someone could be in Benny.
That's true.
The Cab. Someone could be in a CGI.
It could be me.
It could be you. You could be. That could be your avatar. You could be Roger Rabbit riding around in Benny.
It would be me.
Yeah. Would you be Jessica Rabbit? Would you be Jessica Rabbit or Roger
Oh,
Rabbit?
I don't have those curves.
No, that's true. That's true, absolutely.
I don't look that good in a red dress.
We don't know. We haven't seen.
That's true. I haven't put on a red dress in a while.
I'm just sorry. I'm staring at your coif. It looks real good, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of practice with my coif recently.
You've been quaffing it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Animaniacs is coming.
I was kind of hoping that with this, we'd also get Freakazoid and was it Hysteria? Which was do you remember those?
I don't. I remember Freakazoid and I remember The Critic.
But The Critic was that had nothing. Wasn't that John Lovitz?
Yes.
What did that have to do with Tiny Toons?
Nothing. I'm just
what?
kind of
you just what?
I'm just bunching in all of the cartoons of that from like '94.
Okay.
Together.
All right.
There was The Critic, and then there was the weird rabbit, not rabbit, the animal detective. Who am I thinking of?
Scruff McGruff, the crime dog.
Thank you. That's obviously what I was talking about. No, I don't remember. Keep talking.
I don't know, but I've always wanted to go back and revisit because I've revisited Pinky the Brain and Animated Max a little bit. Not Tiny Toons that I want to go back and see. Mm-hmm. But I would love to go back and see a little bit more of Freakazoid because I feel like that was kind of satirizing shows like Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, absolutely.
When it was at its peak. So I'd be really curious to go back and see what it's like now. And then I remember really liking Hysteria too, but I think that's really, really niche. And so I don't know how. And that may not be Steven Spielberg. I'm not sure how that all overlaps. But no, I'm super excited for it. Now, you said, though, it's not Animaniacs' new episodes aren't coming until 2020.
2020. And that's so frustrating they put the news out this early.
I know.
I'm excited, and it's the whole thing in Hollywood right now where, we get trailers for things a year in advance.
Or if you're Solo, a Star Wars story, you never get a trailer at all.
You don't need one. Why would you want it? Ron Howard doesn't need a trailer.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, here's why I'm looking at it. It is now 2018. That means it's only really 2 years away.
Yeah, but still.
Just two.
Ugh, that's so far.
I know, but the nice thing is there's a lot of Animaniacs and Pinky the Brain we can catch up on between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, but I am pretty excited about that. That was some nice news. Nice news to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the only other bit of news that I saw was this morning as we're recording, so the 7th of January. And,
the Tick.
In our Year of the Lord 2018.
The Tick was also a big parody of everything.
Yeah, but that was Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's on Hulu now, though.
It is.
No, sorry. Amazon. No, Amazon's got
That's the one. Oh, no, that's the new Tick, though, not the original Tick.
Yeah, but I would imagine these things not necessarily come in bundles, but
it's not all there
weird.
Yet.
It's all weird licensing.
I just want it now.
I know. Maybe we'll get it at some point. But yeah, so this morning, some protesters showed up outside of Warner Brothers Studio to demand the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
Big protest, right?
13 people showed up.
That's good.
13 people, most of them in cosplay. Now, like when I first...
I'm honestly upset that I wasn't one of them.
I know. You should have been there. When I saw this, I just kind of laughed it off. I'm like, you know what? Hang on. Let me actually try and like get a bit of information from their perspective. And so I found like the post from, he's a YouTube guy who organized the whole thing. And basically his whole thing was he was actually very adamant. Like, look, people who show up. You can only wear basically like cosplay from Zack Snyder films or from the DCEU. It was all like only wear anything positive. Like anyone who shows up trying to like be negative about the movie, we're gonna ask you to leave. I'm bringing the big poster that's like, give us Zack Snyder's cut or whatever. So I actually stopped and like, you know what? I will give these guys credit, although it's a very futile gesture because there's no way Warner Bros. Is going to listen to them. At least they put it from the perspective of, hey, we actually like this stuff, which you're allowed to like it.
Yeah, it's good to know there are 14 people in the world that like these movies.
And like, look, I wish I liked them. I legitimately did, and I try. Despite everything I say, I do try and find things that I actually enjoy. Mm-hmm. It's a tiny little bit amongst a sea of garbage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I feel about the Last Jedi when we were talking about that a few weeks ago. Yeah. It's like I feel bad for not liking it.
I wish I liked it more. Have you seen it only the one time still?
I saw it twice.
Did you have warmer feelings coming around a second time?
I appreciated it a little bit more for what it is, especially after talking and getting like everyone's perspective on it, and seeing like Rian Johnson's kind of twist on like the Star Wars expectations and looking at it from that, seeing the story beats and how they match up with 5. I liked it a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, I would like to go back and revisit a second time.
Did you see how badly it? I mean, it's still already the highest-grossing film of 2017.
Yeah, I think it's clocking in somewhere around like 1.2 billion or something like that.
But the drop-off was so bad.
It was substantial. Yeah,
it was an 80% drop-off after 2 weeks,
and that is pretty bad. I mean, there was not. It's weird to say there was good competition, but like there was some other stuff coming around that I think people wanted to see. Instead,
there was. I mean, you had Greatest Showman, Jumanji.
Yeah, both of which I saw and both of which I liked.
I haven't seen Jumanji yet.
You haven't seen Jumanji.
I'm sorry. I saw Greatest Showman a lot.
I mean, that really feels like it would be in your wheelhouse. It's dumb, but I had a lot of fun with it.
I'll see it eventually.
So, yeah, it's worth a watch. But yeah, it did big drop off. It also didn't do as well in China as they were hoping. It was only like 30 million premiere. It came in second behind like a Chinese comedy, I guess. Which is a lot better. But I would like to go back and see it a second time. I actually just rewatched Guardians 2. I was alone on the weather, so I'm going to curl up in bed and watch something I've seen before, and it happened to chose Guardians 2. And I have to say, I actually really liked it a lot more the second time around.
Okay.
Not that I disliked it the first time, mind you. Liked it more the second time. Got teary at the end when they're playing Cat Stevens' father and son. I'm just crying a lot these days.
You need to toughen up.
What can I say? I have a soft spot for like really somber, dramatic, heartfelt sci-fi endings.
Yeah.
It just gets me every time. That's my niche.
No, I get it. It's just with almost every cartoon.
It just gets me. I'm really looking forward to the day one of these Batman Superman things makes me cry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a thing that I want to plug at the end.
That's at the end of the podcast, I know, Cameron.
That they got me very teary-eyed. I'll save it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we should maybe have that as a segment. What's made either one of us cry?
Yep.
Recently. It's gonna be a lot of me. A lot of me doing that.
Fat tears.
It's just so, yeah. It's little. I just get like one. Like they well up and just one.
The one tear.
It's kind of like one. It's like a bro tear almost. It's just like one tear like slowly drips down my face. But it's emotionally affecting.
Yeah.
It can happen. Shall we?
I think we should move on.
Should we get into what we're here to do?
We've had enough of struggling with this. Oh, God. 2018 is already starting off rough.
Yeah, it's been a challenge.
I heard that.
Oh, yeah. for Brandon especially. Poor guy got pickpocketed.
Talk about a rough weekend. I was out this weekend, got pickpocketed, and blacked out, and...
I mean, the latter part's your fault.
That is true, although I feel like I didn't drink that much. Thought my social security card was jacked until this morning.
Oh, good.
See, small victories. See, 2018's turning around for you already.
Hey, that's right.
Right? Yeah.
Glass is half full.
Listen to me being the optimist. What the hell is happening here? But I'm going to be an optimist further still and say I really liked both these episodes.
I did too.
Yeah. So the first one was Superman. So I'm trying to structure it so that every week we do a Superman and a Batman.
Yeah.
Unless we're dealing with two-parters. I think that's just more interesting to kind of have us go back and forth. So let's be honest, that those weeks when we were just doing Superman, those were rough weeks. Like we weren't
having much fun, and I'm sure
I can only
you guys
imagine
could hear
how
us not having much fun.
It must have been for all you guys. Thank you for sticking with us, which some of you probably haven't. In which case, I don't blame you.
Fuck you.
Oh, see, look at that. We're good.
Look at that banter we had.
God damn it. So, but yeah, I liked this. Happy to see Metallica come back. Happy
Starting
to see
with heavy
Steel.
metal.
Yeah, heavy metal.
Steel is
come
finally
back.
here.
Yeah.
Uncle John Irons.
John Henry Irons. Yeah. I didn't like the episode that introduced him because it was garbage.
Right.
But I have to say, I had a lot of fun with this. It was interesting how they explained Metallo's reappearance. I couldn't remember where he was last, but they luckily explained it for me. He was buried under the volcano.
And I don't know how far the hand of Intergang reaches, but if I remember correctly, that volcano was in either South America or Iceland.
They are all over the world.
Not in America.
All over the world, and they have some real powerful metal detectors.
I guess so.
And that's how they found him. What I did find was interesting. So the whole explanation is that they dug him up, and they gave him some upgrades so he can now shoot kryptonite lasers from his eyes and from his chest, making him quite a bit more deadly.
I wonder, quick theory.
Of course, please.
How easy is it for people to track down kryptonite? Because I feel like it's easier to find that than it would be to find a metal body. In the middle of that.
It does seem
I'm sure it gives off some sort of special radiation.
I'm pretty sure it does. It does seem like it's out there in abundance.
Yeah, because I feel like the idea of breaking the kryptonite has happened. Is it the first time they broke his kryptonite heart?
I don't remember all of them. I think in one of them he put up a lead shield to protect himself. I remember how, but I mean, there's been a lot of kryptonite and a lot of kryptonite lost too, and they still keep finding more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be a huge deposit of it somewhere. And we can maybe theorize too that Lex would have gone to great efforts to try and get as much of it as possible, and that he's probably just regularly shipping it out.
And then in a lot of stories you hear about the synthetic kryptonite that he makes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's...
I don't think they've made it to that point yet.
Does that ever jail you? Do they do... I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Can't remember all of that. But it is everywhere. And what I thought was kind of interesting is so they gave him upgrades. And they gave him some of his face.
Yes.
Not all of it, again.
Just a little piece, to tease him.
They gave him some of his face, and they gave him the same tattered bits of shirt he had left over the last time he was somewhat human-looking.
I think not... I don't understand the shirt part, but the face part, he does make a remark that he's still in debt to Intergang. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're just slowly giving him his humanity back.
Or is it that at this point he doesn't really want to be human again? He's embraced this weird space he occupies, and so for him, he's actually more effective being partially exposed. Because you're oh, this guy's a psycho robot, not just some generic psycho. Yeah. Yeah, let's give him that kind of credit. Yeah, I think he deserves that. Yeah,
he's just a bad Two-Face.
Yeah.
We had a bad Two-Face against a good, okay Iron Man.
Yeah, a decent Iron Man. Okay, so I thought this episode had a bit of an interesting tone because they had a lot of comedy in here. How did you feel that played?
I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I like this episode because mainly because Superman is incapacitated most of it.
And I feel like this time is justified. Actually legitimately justified.
Right, yeah.
He would have absorbed a lot of kryptonite radiation. Yeah.
We're rocking it today.
Yeah, and this to me felt like maybe one of the very few Superman episodes we've come across that I felt didn't have any glaring plot holes or stupid ideas in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like everything played out pretty normally. Like no one was being an idiot.
Except for the newscaster.
I
don't understand
this.
Which was played for I don't understand this. Why in the 90s, and still a little bit today, is that like the joke you have to make with every newscaster? Like, was that a problem at some point in the 80s or 90s?
Like, that happened? Was that like the 80s was there
one
of
person?
Viral?
Yeah, was there one person that happened to, and now everyone has to make that joke?
When did the Bill O'Reilly "fuck it, we'll do it live" happen?
That was early 2000s. I want to say maybe it was late
older.
90s.
I don't know. Something like that must have happened for that to be like a bit, or maybe that was just because was that? I mean, would that have been kind of somewhat early days of local broadcast?
Maybe. I don't know the history of local broadcasting.
I don't know either. But I mean, I guess that would have been big at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe bigger. I don't know. I was a wee little lad.
I was, as was I.
Yeah.
I was a weird little lad. Weird little lad.
So, but that does show up in a lot of things. If you like the newscaster, like not knowing they're on the air yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun.
And always just being mean about it too.
Yeah, they're just like
they're always
really,
the asshole.
Really
before they're
total pricks.
Yeah.
When they're not on air. Yeah, it's like that was a little bit of comedy. Like at one point, Mattel's head goes through a wall, and there's like,
and the two homeless people.
Two homeless people are sitting out there. Like a guy gets like shot out of his bathtub.
Babowski comes back, and he's talking about the monkey incident. This is a nice callback to a former episode.
You know what I do like is this series in particular is pretty good about continuity and just dropping it in little amusing moments, like referencing the monkey or the fact that Mattel kind of elaborates on where he's been and what he's doing rather than
I think that's
nothing.
I don't want to say the only thing that's carried the series so far, but it's where you see them experimenting to be different from Batman, because they could have just done Batman again, and I think it would have been fine. But they wanted to try something new, and although it suffered a little bit for that, it's still, as we've said, I don't know, a dozen times to this point, this is their test run for Justice League.
Yeah. And they probably learned some good lessons from Batman where, like, we talked about a lot of the really great episodes, which was the end of that series, when they are doing something different with their villains. So it's not just them showing up and doing a caper. And I feel like Superman is doing that maybe just a little bit more quickly. They're like, okay, yeah, we're going to bring these villains back, you know, not like seasons apart, but like half seasons or even a few episodes.
This is our fourth Metallo appearance.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of him. And to be fair, I think he's one of the best Superman villains.
Yeah.
Particularly in this show.
Yeah, because now he has a reason to hate Superman.
Yeah.
And everything is just about hating Superman.
And even then, when like the Intergang guys are trying to get him
he
to
left him
leave,
in a fucking volcano.
Yeah, like he really hates Superman. And so we understand why Metallo will direct his focus away from whatever job he's doing, which it's even explained here. He's not really doing this for any personal motivation other than just paying back Intergang.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he's driven by something much more, it's his hatred of Superman. So we believe why he would then go after Superman. And we also would believe that he wouldn't take Steel very seriously. Because if he can, you know, best Superman in battle, what's this guy in a metal suit going to do?
Right. Who also doesn't do much till the very end. He's just kind of a punching bag.
He doesn't. But I think what I like about Steel as a character is his motivation for doing things really does come from a place of genuine altruism. Like he is inspired by Superman and is willing to put himself in danger to help the city. And I like that notion.
Yeah.
Because we don't...
And it's nice to see Superman accept it. Because every other time we've had someone like this, they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a hero now. With either Batman or Superman, they immediately turn him away.
I think Superman's a little warmer to it, though. Like, even the cop in the battle suit from Prototype, like a few episodes before this, where they introduced...
Yeah, I guess that's true. He initially was happy about it.
He's welcoming of it. Like, that's kind of one of the big differences in the two of them, is Batman will always be like, no, I have this. You're just going to slow me down. Superman's like, yeah, come on, join the party. I could use the help.
I'd love to get back to work.
Yeah, I got the deadline coming up. This would be great. So I like where Steel comes from. I like his enthusiasm. I just think he's a really cool, interesting character. He's one that I really want to see pop up somewhere.
He did.
And be done well.
He was.
But I think also he's a character that I think needs to be in the context of Superman.
Yeah.
But I also like that in this episode, we stick to his neighborhood for the most part. Right. This is really Steele's episode, and Superman's kind of
that's what I think made it so
it.
great. It wasn't a Superman episode.
No, and I think they only once referred to it as the Hood.
Yeah.
And that was coming from Metallo, so I think we can kind of be like, well, he's a bit of an asshole.
Right.
So we can kind of give him a pass. Not a pass, but we can kind of get where he's coming from on that. But I really liked that it was about Steele and everyone he lives with and the community there and defending his own city.
Yeah, and everyone standing up for each other. Like, no one ratted them out when Metallo came after them.
No, and like the only time it did happen was when
one person even called him a robo-butt.
Robo-butt, yeah. It's like when there was actual danger at play. It's like, okay, maybe.
He even did like the hand sign like you do as all 90s bad boys do.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think this is probably one of the better ones we've seen in a while, and in general, one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say?
For Superman, absolutely.
For Superman.
There was a couple moments that I wanted to highlight, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, please do.
Superman, when he first fights Metallo, and Metallo has his chest open, and he's like using all of these tools to throw and like hit him, and he grabs I assume it was a telephone pole, and just kind of pokes Metallo with it.
So just get back.
I think I think he was trying to because all of the things were targeted at the kryptonite, so I think he was trying to knock it out.
Yeah, and keep his distance while doing
it. Just like the tiny poke was so entertaining.
Yeah,
because there was no force behind it.
No, not at all.
Everything else was a swing or a throw, and this was just like not even a lunge. It's just like.
Can we assume that Superman was too weakened to use his laser vision, and that's why he didn't do it?
Laser, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been the one thing that would have kind of saved him, is he could just laser the kryptonite out. But let's roll the assumption that when he's weakened, he can't shoot as effectively.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little limp.
What else was there? The car chase. So when Metallo is chasing Steele and Superman and the niece,
Natasha?
Sure,
I think so.
There's a moment in the car chase where the music turns off, and I don't know if you listen to that.
I didn't catch that actually. No,
it loses all like intensity when the music goes away.
Oh, that's a little bizarre.
Yeah, it was after he does the U-turn and they're driving down the alley. There's no music for like a minute.
I guess there's not.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is boring now.
Yeah, what's going on?
And the music slowly comes back after they get past the forklift.
Mm-hmm.
That was fine.
Decent car chase too.
Yeah, that was nice.
Pretty solid.
There were a lot of good fight scenes in this. Superman versus Metallo in the beginning, Steele versus Metallo, and then Superman versus Metallo again.
Yeah, with a little bit of assist from Steele at the end.
Yeah.
He really didn't use his hammer very much, did he?
Just once, really.
Also, I mean, I guess it's still early days on the suit, but why didn't he have like a metallic clamp he could just slap his hammer onto? Because every time he had to use his hands, he would like chuck it underneath his arm. I feel like that wouldn't work quite so well in a robot suit.
Right.
Like, could you imagine like Iron Man trying to like stick something in the crooks of his armpit?
I could see him putting a small magnet like on the inside of his
maybe that's where it is. Yeah,
yeah.
But then wouldn't that just make his arms stick together?
No, he can have like a patch like right here.
Oh, okay. He's got some non-ferrous material right around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that word means, but sure.
It's ferromagnetic.
Sure.
Yeah. If it's non-ferrous, it's not magnetic.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Okay. I hope that's right. I'm not.
I really hope you're wrong.
I'm not 100%.
Oh, please call him out if he's wrong.
I'm really quite sure.
I'm
just gonna pretend like I was correct.
The two more when Steele is carrying Superman out of the car, the whole crowd around them is like, "Oh my gosh, it's Superman!" And there's one guy, you just can kind of hear him in the background. He's like, "Oh, look, it's Superman!" And I just loved his so nonchalant attitude about him carrying him La Pieta style through the streets.
What? La Pieta? What?
The famous statue La Pieta / also painting of Mary holding Jesus' body, and it's with the head. It's a very popular pose.
Okay, here it is. I was like, the Superman carrying Supergirl pose. The Batman carrying Robin pose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all based off of that. I'm sure it was before that, but that was what made the pose most famous.
Yes, you're right. I'm pretty sure in Infinite Crisis happened prior to the sculpting of La Pieta.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that came out like a year ago, right?
Yeah, it was relatively recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's done the 3D printer.
Exactly.
That's
kind of everything I have about this episode.
No, I would say I agree with that.
Superman
Overall, very positive feelings on this.
Yeah. Oh, the ending, the thumbs up at the end.
They shake hands.
Oh no, with the lady after Steel throws his hammer and destroys the kryptonite heart, Metallo falls to the ground, and the old woman looks at the dead body. It looks up at Steel and just gives him a nice thumbs up. It's like, good job, Steel. And I'm like, yeah, good job for murdering that guy, Steel.
You did it. I mean, he's a robot.
Yeah,
robots don't have souls, Cameron.
I honestly, were you expecting him to break the heart?
Who? Superman?
Steel.
I guess I was actually so engaged with it, I wasn't thinking too much about it.
I was ready for just a nice like head swing.
That would have been
hit the head straight. I think they would have to have like the skin fall off first.
Yeah.
So then it's just the metal head, and he knocks the metal head off. But I was ready for just a good old like baseball swing.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Yeah, to give him like a full on like wind up swing and just take him out.
Let's get one good bad baseball pun in there.
Yeah, exactly.
You're out of here.
Steel goes and puts a metal like girder in between Metallo's legs and just winds up the hammer and just goes and breaks his ankles.
Yeah,
Misery style.
Yeah, great Batman or great Superman episode.
Good Superman episode, and I really loved this Batman episode. Probably because
you mean Nightwing episode?
Because it's basically a Nightwing episode, and we got some shirtless.
We did.
We got some shirtless dick in there.
We got some dick showing off for Barbara.
There's nothing I love more than some exposed dick in these cartoons.
Mm-hmm. No, you don't need to end that. So scratch my back.
You scratch my back.
You scratch my back. It's our first Nightwing episode of New Batman Adventures. Very exciting.
Yes. What? I mean, we have never actually talked about Nightwing's look in this show because it is a little bit different than it is in the comics, for example.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think everyone can kind of have the same stance on this. Everything is great about the suit. Everything's great about the guy except the mullet.
The mullet's not great.
No.
I think it looks better on the suit when he's in the suit than it does when he's out and about.
You don't like his ponytail?
No, it's like the precursor to the man bun.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing worse than a good-looking guy with a man bun.
So there was when you see him out of costume, I forgot that he had a ponytail, and I just saw him walking across, and I like wiped my screen because I thought I had a smudge.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh. That's the ponytail.
Oh, I had to wipe mine because I was like breathing so heavy.
Right.
It got all steamed up.
So. Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, I like it here because so in the comics it's basically just a V with kind of like talons built into the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And his domino mask kind of has like claw sort of looking things up at the top and bottom. Whereas this, it's an actual eagle, like a Nightwing, I suppose, more accurately on the front, and then the domino mask and the long hair. And
what do you mean by domino mask?
That's the name for like Green Lantern has a domino mask. That's the name for that, like real simple, just covers over the face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've never heard the term?
I haven't.
Domino mask?
No.
I think, well, you know what? I think the reason I know it is they make a reference to Domino Mask in DC, The New Frontier. My favorite comic that I'm pretty sure you still haven't read, even though you just had to go on a couple long flights and it would have been a good time for you to get some experience.
You know,
reading that.
I spent my time doing other things, mainly sleeping.
No justification there.
No, I have no justification.
But yeah, I like Nightwing's look a lot in this. I don't know where he keeps any of his stuff.
No. I did notice he uses much less gadgets, which is good to see. Because he obviously doesn't have the same money as Bruce, and he wants to try and separate himself as much.
And I think he doesn't need them, too. I mean, you could say that one of the big differences between Bruce and Dick is that though Bruce kind of sort of started on his journey when he was a kid, he didn't really start training properly until he was a little bit older, and then he was traveling around the world and kind of training with different masters and that sort of thing. Dick, from about the same age, around 8 years old, all the way through his life was constantly training with someone who had already mastered that skill set.
Right.
And so in a lot of ways, actually, Dick has the potential to be a overall better crime fighter than Batman, except for I think he's a little too cocky. That holds him back. And that's
cocky
even in here a
forgiving.
little bit. Yeah, a little bit here too. He's a little bit softer, which one can make an argument one way or the other whether that's good, better or worse. But
there was a quote from somewhere.
It's good reporting right there.
Yep. Coming straight from the source.
Yeah.
That said, like, Batman made Dick to be a better version of himself.
Yeah.
And I think that you see that a lot here.
Yeah.
Especially with his flair for the overdramatic.
Oh,
because it's amazing.
He is so. Although, hang on though, we got to call out. I think Batman gets the best. I don't know if I would call it dramatic moment or what, but he definitely makes the biggest scene, sort of, in the whole thing, and that's when Nightwing is chasing down the criminal. He goes around the corner, and Batman's literally just leaning, all casual, against the crate, and the goon's like, "Wait, shit, what?"
Yeah, the goon tiptoes around.
He like doesn't know what to do. He just stays there, not moving, not saying anything, not doing anything, and keeps going. And just he's all yours.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, okay. So I was curious who wrote this episode, because I felt like there's a lot of really great character work in this. I'd say I have issues with overall the direction they're pushing Catwoman in this iteration of Batman, but I'd say beyond that, the interactions between the characters are spot on. I feel like how they should be.
Oh yeah.
Just even the way that Bruce, or best Batman, is kind of letting Nightwing do his thing, but is still clearly a little bit disapproving every step of the way. Batgirl's jealousy, but she's also following Batman's lead. How Catwoman's trying to manipulate everybody. Nightwing's caught in the middle. I loved all of their interplay, their dynamics. And so I looked it up. The writer on this one was Hilary J. Bader. And she is a series writer pretty much all the way through the new Batman Adventures. But she actually wrote, she's writing credits on some of the best episodes. So Cold Comfort, You Scratch My Back, Mean Seasons, which I seem to remember liking that one. You don't actually know what all these are, huh?
I don't know any of these.
The Ultimate Thrill, which is the introduction of Roxy Rocket.
Ooh.
Which is fun. Animal Act's not necessarily great. Girls' Night Out, which is one of my
I've heard is one of the best episodes.
all-time favorite episodes of this entire continuity. And she also wrote on Superman and Batman Beyond and Justice League and JLU's, like, really great writer, and I loved how she handled all the character dynamics in this.
Yeah.
Like there's that great moment at the end when they're on the ship and Batman's fighting with is it Ricky the Hook, right? And Ricky's like, "Oh, you seem to have met your match, Batman." No, he's just like, "No."
Yeah.
God.
I do like seeing when, like, because I don't know how they illustrate this, but I do see it when you can tell Batman just isn't trying.
Yeah, he's always so still, but there's an extra stillness to his face, and I almost feel like maybe the new animation style kind of helps that a little bit, because it is a little bit less fluid, and I think in general we could say that the characters maybe a little bit less expressive.
Oh, absolutely.
Than they were before, and I feel like that they're kind of taking that to their advantage, and they're pushing this iteration of Batman to be a little bit more silent. And actually, I'm curious if on some level they took some inspiration from like Batman and Batman Returns. I was actually just did I write that down? There's a really good video I just watched recently that was kind of talking about the evolution of what became Batman Returns, Batman 2, as it was kind of called, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I guess over the course of the filming, Michael Keaton kept being like, "This is a great speech, cut it out. Cut it out, cut it out, cut it out." It was really pissing off the writer until the writer watched and he's like, "Oh, I get it. That version of Batman wouldn't say anything all the way through." And I feel like the new Batman Adventure Batman's very similar. That he doesn't say as much. There's a lot of that stillness, a lot of that just like, this is easy for me.
Well, he's never needed to say much. In BTOS, they needed him to talk because there was nothing else happening.
That's a good point, yeah.
Now we have Barbara and Dick and their interplay. You had Catwoman here.
Robin's along with him like most of the time.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah. He has other people to bounce off of.
You have so many other people that can give the exposition, that can talk about what's happening.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have. He can be the brooding Batman that we all know and love.
God, it's so good. It's so damn good. Another question.
There was a really cool video. Sorry to go off topic as always.
How dare
off topic. There was another great video talking about Spider-Man doing that. How in the comics, a lot of Spider-Man is all about the word bubble, or the thought bubbles. And they haven't really had a chance to get that right in the movies until Homecoming, when they gave him someone to talk to, which was the robot, the suit.
What did he call her?
I don't remember. I feel bad not remembering.
Not Friday, because that's the new Iron Man. But
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But they also talked about the eyes.
Giving him more expressive eyes. Yeah, it does.
How
they've
never in all of the previous Spider-Man movies, they've had to have him. All the final fights, he has to lose his mask at some point. Yeah. So you can see the expression.
Yes, you can see how much he's struggling as he goes to the fight. Can you keep talking? I really got to pee.
Oh, really?
I drank tea. I just drank a whole cup of tea.
How about we just pause for a minute because I don't want to riff for a minute.
Okay, all right. There's gonna be a clunky edit point right here.
How about we add in some nice like elevator music right here?
I've been humming for some random reason. Istanbul, not Constantinople. You know that song? Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah,
Istanbul, Constantinople. Long time gone. Constantinople, Constantinople. Got the word. That's nobody's business but the Turks. All right, I'll just put that on loop while I go pee.
Okay.
Oh God, feel much better.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna be racing through the rest of this episode otherwise. I'd say I'll stop drinking tea during your recording, but just it's good for the throat.
Yeah.
It's
good for the soul.
It's a little chilly these days, so it's nice. Got this lovely color changing Power Rangers mug.
I see it losing its color
From my friendship. Yeah. It's not hot anymore.
Yeah.
I drank all of it.
I understand.
That's why I had to pee.
I get it.
Okay, as long as we understand these basic things. What did you think of Nightwing's loft? His whole setup there.
I liked it.
It
was very Asian inspired.
Yeah. He traveled the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's not a college student anymore, is he?
No.
Okay.
No. So
because it seems like Barbara still is.
I don't think so. I think I'm not sure what she's doing actually.
She might. They made her because in BTOS they always seem to be about the same age.
Yeah.
And in this episode, she seems younger now.
Which is
not much, but just enough. It was a very like brother-sister dynamic that I felt, where she was just like, I just want to be better than you, kind of.
I don't think she want to be better than you. I think she just wanted
I want to be with you, but not in a romantic sense.
Oh, I was.
I mean, there's definitely a romantic.
Yeah,
undertone.
I was definitely picking up the romantic sense there, which is just then weird because like, Barbara and Bruce date later, and that's
we don't need that. That's not important. That's not canon yet.
That's always creeped me out. But no, I like.
Sorry, I'll clarify. In the first fight scene when they're together, it seems like a very brother-sister dynamic of like, that was my guy. Well, it's too bad I took him. And then in the loft, you do see that more romantic side of like, why won't you just accept me in your life? He's like, because I don't wanna.
That banter is called flirting.
Nope,
Cameron.
I've not heard of it.
Like I know shit about that. Yeah, I like his loft setup. I like his bike. I like that it like drops down and it spits out into the like the spillway. What would you call that?
That's a good question.
It's called a spillway. Why not? Yeah. No, it's all good. I like his musical score. His a little leitmotif he's got going on there. What did you think of Catwoman in this?
I'm not a big fan of her design.
No, interesting. Okay. Do you prefer the other one?
A little bit, yeah. I would have liked the other one in black.
Yeah.
Just combine the color palettes. You see her silhouette first, and it's the first thing that I noticed. Her neck is so skinny.
Yeah, that is. As much as I love the Timm designs, that is one problem with them. Is the women are impossibly skinny.
Mm-hmm. But even like she's not even like curvaceous. Because like she doesn't have like the Poison Ivy or the Harley curves.
No.
She's very slender.
Yeah.
And in this, she's almost angular. And it I don't know. There was something about it that it wasn't great for me.
Okay. I mean, I did think it was interesting that they would move her closer to the Batman Returns look, even though this came out many, many years after that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, part of the reason they did it was this is much easier to animate. I mean, she's like
absolutely.
all black.
It's one color.
Just the mouth. Yeah. Even her eyes are just slits. They're not actual full-on eyes like they were originally. So I guess I've always liked this look.
Okay.
I think I've actually always preferred this look a little bit.
That's fine. We can differ on some things.
I suppose we can. I always thought that the BTOS look was a little silly.
In what sense?
I don't know. It always, I don't know, it just never worked for me. But I think, to be fair, even though obviously BTOS came before this, like that came out when I was still much younger. Mm-hmm. It's like this stuff hit me at like the perfect age. So I was like 8 when this stuff was on.
Yeah.
But that's the perfect age. So like that's why in general I love all of these designs more.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what when you think of Catwoman, that's what I think of. To your mind
that's what comes
early.
to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I always really like this look on her. I think I like the kind of gambit she's playing on Nightwing to use him to steal the gem or whatever, the cat's eye. I love then that
just say anything cat something,
related, yeah.
and you're 90%
it doesn't even look
there.
Like a cat. It's just
it's just an emerald.
I also like in turn then that Nightwing is secretly working with Batman.
He's playing her the whole time.
My problem is, especially by the end, she's just a very generic villain. Like, she's trying to get away with the goods. Nightwing chases her down. Like, she's shooting at him with the flare gun. They crash the boat. He saves her. She had a lot of depth, especially towards the end of her run on BTOS, where she was kind of this back and forth. Is she good? Is she bad? She was struggling with that here. Here, she's using that as well as a ruse to just steal more shit.
I would have loved just, like, a line or two talking about, because at the end of that, like, Batman still kind of had feelings for Selina. He didn't see her as like a full villain, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I would have loved for just like a line or two of what made him see her as just a villain now.
Yeah, and I know that there's a comic that kind of explains some of the changes. There was a comic series that basically filled in the gaps. It's like even some of the gaps around like old wounds, which tells how Robin stopped being Robin. And that interweaves a bit of like Tim Drake's story. And then also there's one where it explains how Catwoman went from being a blonde to a brunette. Where apparently she is a natural brunette, but she would dye her hair. And then she figured out that the chemical that she used to dye her hair was tested on animals. And so she stopped using it.
That sounds about right.
That's about right. I'm pretty sure I actually have that comic. And I have it here, so I think I'm going to read it when we get around to Old Wounds and talk about it. But,
okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. I would have liked a little bit more to explain how she kind of got put on this path.
Because it had to have been something that was personal to Batman.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't enough for Nightwing to immediately judge her.
Yeah, he was a little more open to her potentially being helpful than Batman was. Yeah, so it must have been some sort of personal slight. Because we've also seen, especially in this, he's more open to helping people. I mean, the great episode with the ventriloquist was all about that.
Yeah.
And that's really Bruce earnestly trying to help somebody. But maybe with Selina, it was just too personal. I don't know.
You've cut me too deep, Catwoman.
Did you like our one-off villain this episode, Ricky the Hook?
Ricky the Hook? Yeah, and how he's from, like, Guatemala or something.
There was some ambiguous.
They said some South America, some Latin country.
Yeah.
So I guess Ricky is short for Ricardo.
It was. They give him the full. I think it was Enrique something,
okay.
aka Ricky the Hook. I liked him. I mean, I think BTOS suffered from a lot of real bad one-off villains. Whatever the guy's
he was
name
just
in,
like
the Forgotten.
he wasn't even like the villain.
No,
he was just the kind of plot point.
Yeah, and they gave him like just enough character that I liked when he was on screen. He had fun. I liked that he was kind of a match for Batman on some level.
And Dick didn't even want to deal with it because you see the fight scene first where like he's too big for Dick to do like his basic moves. So he's like,
"Bye,
this is you.
Yeah,
this is all you.
You got this, old man."
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I like him. It was fun. I think I seem to recall that there's some kind of good one-off little villains like that in here. That they're. I think they're more focused on just kind of the style of them, giving a little bit of personality rather than trying to make fully fleshed characters.
Yeah.
Which there's an argument to be made whether that's good or bad.
Well, I think this also goes back to the same point I made earlier, where when it was just Batman, the villain had half of the work to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it wasn't a good villain up front, then it was half of the episode was bad.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot.
Yeah, and even if Ricky the Hook wasn't great, he was on screen for maybe like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And you could have 4 bad minutes and that wouldn't have affected the episode because it wasn't about him.
Yeah.
There was so much else happening. You can't really say that about the Sewer King or the chain gang.
Chain gang, yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. I mean, we keep talking about how Superman's the setup show for Justice League. It's worth noting that in here, the idea of the team dynamic is really where they're getting some practice in.
Yeah.
And they're already doing a good job here. So that kind of helps explain why by the time they got the Justice League, they knew those characters well, even though they're basically all different characters, and really got that dynamic in there. There's some really good shit in this.
They really know what they're doing.
They're doing. It's almost like they did this for 12 years.
Something like that.
Any other major thoughts on our Nightwing-centric episode here?
I liked Catwoman's line, he's a big boy wonder now. A man wonder.
A man wonder, yes. Yes, he is.
Calling him Batman Light was cute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like the brief moment between Barbara and Dick in the apartment, I thought was a very cute moment.
It was.
Where she she just wants to be with him, and he's absorbed too much of that Batman loneliness.
I know. Well, he's been gone for I think a few years around the time this has come around.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a little bit of weird tension there because Batgirl hasn't quite replaced him.
Right.
But she's his new trusted sidekick or teammate.
And the very first scene, when I mentioned his absorption of the flair for the dramatic, when he first pulls out the
glider wings,
the glider wings, and Barbara, like, I don't think they animated it, but I just saw her rolling her eyes as he did that, because he like stood there for a moment acting very proud of this. Like, look what I can do. I don't need your gadgets. I got my own gadgets now.
I mean, I think more than anything else, what happens there is when he holds his arm up like that, like everything in his backside just gets clenched a little bit, so it all looks that much better.
Yeah. Oh, it has to.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine it looking any better.
Oh, I can imagine it.
But I think that's it for these 2 episodes.
All right, shall we roll along to Bat Plugs? Do you have a whole bunch of stuff now? We've been off for like a month.
I don't. I tried to keep it short. I have 3.
Kudos. Okay.
2 of which are going to be super easy for you. All 3 are pretty easy for you.
God.
We mentioned it at the top of the episode. Go watch Greatest Showman.
It's a lot of fun. I just saw it.
The movie's fine. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it nonstop for almost a month now.
It's a fun soundtrack. The movie has a weird sheen to it at times. You can kind of tell where they didn't quite have the CGI budget they would have wanted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'd say that the practical dance sequences, I think in particular like the Zac Efron Zendaya dance sequence, it's really, really good. And everyone is really good in it.
Yeah.
This is like Zac Efron's first like musical since the High School Musicals. He picked a Go and a Comeback.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When that song started, the first few notes were very similar to the first few piano notes on Bet on It. And so which is his like not humor song. It's a song from High School Musical 2. I don't need to go into it anymore if you're just going to just phase out. That's fine. A movie that I was very excited to see that I missed by like 2 weeks, but I finally saw it, was Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie.
How was it?
Amazing. Yeah? It's the finale of Hey Arnold, the official finale.
Okay.
I think it's on. I watched it on like the Nick app because
interesting.
I just got a Roku.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so now I have all of the TV show apps.
Okay, well, it's gonna be your responsibility to send me that link then, because I have no idea how to track that down.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It made me very emotional towards the end.
That's awesome though.
Because I remember, I don't know how well you remember the kind of tapering off of Hey Arnold towards the end.
I think I more or less stopped watching it at that point. But
okay.
You've described it to me.
Yeah, the last episode that I remember, and I'm pretty sure this is the last episode of the series, is Hey Arnold learning where his parents are, and learning why they never came back.
Okay.
And so the movie picks up immediately after that episode, almost 15 years later, in our time. It's him finishing up 5th grade and moving on to 6th grade.
15 years later?
It's the same. In our time, it's 15 years. In their time, no time has passed.
Okay, I was gonna say
in their time, like a month has passed.
They look the same age.
Yeah,
it'd be really hard for them to be 15 years older.
No, it's not like the Fairly Odd Parents Live movie
or the Rugrats All Grown Up.
That's different. We don't talk about All Grown Up because All Grown Up is great.
Okay, all right. Wow. Okay, I'll just step back here.
You watch your tongue.
I will.
But no, the movie it's so the voice cat. They had to get new Arnold and Gerald because it's harder for guys to keep their child voice. Because I don't know if you knew this about the original Hey Arnold, which is so cool to learn. It was a full child voice cast.
Oh shit!
Most of them went to the same school and like were friends in elementary school, and then they would all like get picked up by a Nickelodeon shuttle after school and go and record all afternoon.
Oh, I think you have told me that. Yeah, that's really
so
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And at Comic-Con, I got to see the panel for this, and they were like showing clips from when they got to do that as kids, and it was so cute to watch. And so Helga and Phoebe are the same voice actresses. Arnold and Gerald have been replaced, but everyone is just—it's so good. It's so heartwarming.
Is Maurice LaMarche back as the dad, Big Bob?
Oh yeah, Big Bob's back.
Yeah.
They make a joke about beepers because he ran a beeper company.
He's like Beeper King.
Yeah, it was Big Bob's Beepers. And so the start of the movie is that shutting down because everyone has a cell phone now. And someone even makes a joke in the movie. It's like, what are beepers?
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for
putting that in there. That's really good.
Because you couldn't just like switch his career path.
No.
You had to see him crumble.
Oh, poor Big Bob.
And see the fall of the Big Bob's Beepers. But everyone that ever had a small part in Hey Arnold, the series, is in this movie. And that's so cool. You see Stoop Kid come back. You see Monkey Man come back. You see Pigeon Guy.
Who was the guy who was on the island, like the treasure island, like in the cave in the treasure island thing? It's one of the few episodes I really remember.
I don't remember, but I'm sure he was there because everyone was there. And it's so good, Chris. It just made my heart so warm.
I'm glad you really enjoyed it.
And it's a good send off. It made me feel good because you always feel a little weird when shows come back for like a season or a show or an episode or a movie. Because Powerpuff Girls have tried it twice. The movie wasn't great. I hear the show is okay, but Craig Bartlett came back. This was his idea, and it was a great send off.
That's
and
great.
I just feel good about it.
I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll just plug those two.
Okay. So I did see a number of movies, but I'm not going to go into all of them. I saw a couple cool little videos. One was, you may have seen this. It was someone made a CGI time lapse of a Death Star getting built.
Ooh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's a really cool video. I mean, it's not in real time, obviously, but it shows like in fast forwarded real time of like all the cargo ships showing up and dropping off at the superstructure and like building the reactor core and all this other stuff. And it's short. It's like, I don't know, a couple minutes maybe, but it's just kind of fun to watch. So that's worth it.
That's awesome.
I did write down the link for that video talking about how the title is Batman Returns, was originally intended to be way less dark.
Okay.
And it's a pretty interesting look at what like the original writers wanted to do with Batman in the movie and how Warner Brothers wasn't super keen on that. So they really just they just gave Tim Burton the freedom to do what he wanted, which then they weren't happy with, and that's why we got Batman Forever. But it is pretty interesting. They kind of go into detail of the evolution of that movie, and it's for what it is. It's relatively short. It's like 8 minutes or so. So that's well worth a look, because I assume if you're listening, hopefully you're a Batman fan. Hopefully you're a fan of that movie, which I actually got to see in theaters.
You did?
I did, yeah. Jonathan and I went to go to downtown. This is way back right before the holidays, because it's technically kind of a Christmas movie. And so, yeah, we had to see it.
There's snow.
There's snow, yeah. There's Christmas. Like the last line of, like the last exchange in the movie is, like, Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne. Or
yeah.
Never seen it in theaters before.
Oh, wow.
Well, it came out in 92.
Yeah, I know.
I was 3 years old.
Yeah, and?
Okay. You were
unborn,
I believe. No, wait.
Yeah.
Came out in like middle of the year. Oh, no, you were 93.
I was 93.
God, you child.
I'm a child. I'm a baby.
Goddamn child. So, yeah, you weren't even around at the time.
I was not.
But yeah, it was really fun to get to see it in theaters. People came in costumes. One guy had a really great, elaborate Batman suit that you could actually pull the cape up, and it.
Oh, that's cool.
Had like the glider built into it and stuff. It was really fun to get to go do that. So that was great. And then the last thing I want to plug is actually a friend of mine from work, Ryan Goldblum. As far as I know, no relation to Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, but we'll dig into that.
Next time I see him, I'm going to ask him, actually.
Yeah.
So he's also a really talented music producer and composer, and so he wrote this cool song called Aura, A-U-R-A, under his nom de music. What the fuck do you call it? His
username?
Whatever, on SoundCloud,
name,
Gold Roberts. Artist name, thank you. On SoundCloud.
His artist persona.
Yes, and it's really good, kind of like light synth background ambient music. So whenever I'm working, I'm pretty much always listening to music scores. I don't want anything with lyrics in it because the lyrics are a little bit distracting. So I listen to a lot of music scores, anything instrumental, and this is very much that. Which is a really great, like I could just put it on loop and just listen to it for hours. It's a really nice kind of like melodic, but just a little bit energetic song. It's well worth a listen if, like me, you are inclined to such kind of music.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's the username again?
Aura, A-U-R-A.
No,
that's a song.
Yeah.
Gold Robbers on SoundCloud.
Okay.
Gold Robbers. Yeah. Check him out.
Yeah.
He's got some good shit. So, yeah. That's it for me in terms of bat plugs. I did want to put out a request to our listeners.
Yes.
I'm trying to read more, and I have come to accept the fact that I have like a 10-year lapse of knowledge about Batman comics. Because I've basically stopped reading not too long after Hush. And I've heard really good things about the Grant Morrison run, which I've read some of. Also really good things about Scott Snyder's run. And I've heard good things about the Tom King run ongoing right now. But I do kind of like to read chronologically in order. So if you listen and you know of a good way to get, like, say, all of Grant Morrison's run in a relatively easy manner, like even doing it through Comixology is totally fine. It's a little bit cheaper. Same with Scott Snyder's run. I would love to hear from you because I really want to try and read that stuff and fill in my lapse of knowledge about Batman. So
yes, come fans,
please help me.
You're my only hope.
Yeah, I'm willing to acknowledge my weaknesses.
Yeah, I obviously have no weakness.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's all that hair.
Yeah,
it's all
it covers up for all of my lapse in knowledge.
There you go. But yeah, I think that basically does it. Our sponsor this week is our good friends at the Podcast of Two Worlds.
Oh, we know those guys.
I know, we know those guys. Yeah. So obviously go check out their podcast. It's delightful. Speedweed. Yeah, I think that does it.
Yeah. Who are we?
We are
Who am I?
Slightly rusty. We are at Timm Talk Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And Gmail.
Oh, and we are now up officially on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
I got that up and running.
Congrats to us.
Still working on getting us up on Google Play. That's a little more of an involved process. And having a weird thing with YouTube.
That's fine.
I'm just going to try and figure that out. I think maybe they flagged our intro theme as being copyright, which I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah, we'll talk to YouTube. YouTube's going through a lot of drama.
They haven't got back
right
to me
now.
in a while, so I might.
They're in even more flack right now, but that's for an off-topic conversation. Jake Paul.
That was Logan Paul.
It's both of them.
Whatever.
This one is about Jake Paul.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm working on that, but we are up on Spotify. So tell your friends.
Yes.
Go listen on Spotify.
Tell your family. Tell your dogs.
Yeah. Tell the dogs. Dogs. I mean, it lulls everyone to sleep.
Right.
So
if you have a hyperactive dog, just put us on. We'll rock them straight to sleep.
I might, because I have to edit this. There are times when I'm just kind of listening to it going through just to make sure there's not any weird little audio blitz, or I have to like stop and make some notes. And I have a tendency to like just put it on my headphones and just lay on the floor, and I might fall asleep sometimes.
Good. It's good to know that is what we're making.
Is it? Yeah. Somehow.
Who are you?
I
Chris?
find my own voice so melodic that it puts me to sleep.
Who are you? Where can we find you?
I am at Lordifer on Twitter and Instagram. And what about you, Cameron?
Thank you.
Who are you?
I am.
Where can we find you?
I
what
am
is your username?
On Instagram at CamDexter_adventures. I'm trying to do a lot of new things this year, so maybe I'll post about them eventually. And yeah, that's us. This is the end of the episode, and we forgot how to close.
We don't have to close. We just
thank you.
We just generally say thank you. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Trevor Reese.
And I'm Chris Finbrez.
And we host the podcast of Two Worlds all about the Flash.
You want TV Flash? Got it. Comic book Flash? Got it. Fan erotica Flash? Got it under my mattress.
I got it under my mattress too. We got everything you need for the speedster of Central City, the Flash.
And we got new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday.
Make sure to subscribe on iTunes and any other place you can find podcasts. We are proudly a part of the Nerdist School Network. Speedweed.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.